Hey everybody, this is Bill Murphy with MMORPG.com, and today we have our video review of Lords of the Fallen. As a disclaimer, we reviewed Lords of the Fallen on both the PC and the PS4, with copies provided by Namco Bandai's Public Relations team. We finished the game on the PS4 due to crashing issues on the PC edition. In total, it took us about 15 hours for the playthrough, and well, here's our review. Now, last week we had our initial first impressions of Lords of the Fallen, an obvious homage to the punishingly difficult action RPG Dark Souls. Now, in our final review, we're going to explore the ups and downs of the game now that we've had time to finish it, and while it never fully reaches Dark Souls heights, fans of that punishing RPG genre will likely find a lot to love. Now, combat is the crux of Lords, just like it is in the Souls series. Unlike traditional action RPGs where you can just spam potions and hack your way through enemies undaunted, Lords of the Fallen's action requires patience, forethought, and timing. Every weapon has a different timing, your stats change, how good you are with certain items, and every enemy has their own strengths and weaknesses. Some of them are even blind, so they'll just flail wildly at you, and you have to sort of get your hits in when you can. So when you might favor the staff and shield combo as I do, sometimes it may be best to whip out your two-handed hammer and go at the mob in the slower but more painful smashy fashion. And now, I know a few folks who tried playing Dark Souls and just couldn't get into it because the combat forces you to take your time, learn the fights, and be patient. Lords of the Fallen is just like this, only less frustrating as mobs do tend to go down easier. Bosses all have a trick to them as well, and while they might be frustrating as can be at first, once you learn their patterns or the puzzle involved, the only time you'll die is when you make a mistake controlling Harkin, or if you're plagued by the game's many bugs. Now, in an effort from the devs to make Lords a more appealing game to the masses while still retaining a sense of difficulty, they have put in a lot more forgiving checkpoint and XP loss mechanics. You'll earn XP from pretty much everything you do in Lords of the Fallen, and if you stop at a waystone you can bank this or spend it so that if you die again shortly after, you haven't lost any progress. And when you die, you can still retrieve said XP by corpse running your way back to where you fell before the timer runs out. Sometimes this is made even easier because not all mobs respawn upon death. You can customize Harkin's stats and skills quite well with the XP system by improving his magic regen, his power, his strength, his stamina, so forth. It really all depends on the type of fighter you are and what weapons and armor you like to use. Now, there's no way to respec, so you might want to be sure you know where you want to put points before you do. The good thing is that you can bank XP into either magic spells or stats without spending the points right away, and if you decide that you're really not enjoying the way you're going, it's not so hard to just keep finding enemies to fight, get more XP, and then bank it and go the other direction. You can make Harkin an all-powerful god pretty easily. But bugs are probably the most frustrating part of Lords. It's a really good game that just needed some more time polishing things up to be one of this season's best. But when I have to delay a review because I can't finish the game because of save bugs and crashing issues on bosses, you know there's a problem. Now, there is a patch out now that fixes a notorious stuck-in-a-hole bug, plus addresses some other stability woes, but I can't let the launch version slide in the polish category just because of this. Just take it with a grain of salt that if you've been on the fence about buying Lords of the Fallen, you may be better off for waiting. With the patch that went live this Wednesday, the game's overall stability should be much improved. Visually, Lords of the Fallen is absolutely stunning. I'm not a fan of the way the Souls series looks with its sort of deliberate reality, its muddy textures and all that other stuff, and much prefer the dark fantasy vibe of Lords of the Fallen. Harkin's ornate and elaborate armors, weapons, and the grotesque Rogar enemies you face are all things of nasty beauty. The music and sound is top-notch too, and when played with good stereo, you may even get some help in the way of positional sound effects alerting you to where enemies are. The only downside is the lackluster voice acting of Harkin himself. He's got a memorable look with the tattoos all over his face and his scraggly beard, but he's also got the personality of literally any hard-boiled hero. It's a shame we don't learn too much about him outside the fact that he's your usual anti-hero with a checkered past. Lords of the Fallen is a very capable, if not fully realized and polished RPG. Its story and adventure are linear, but your path towards completion is Zelda-like in that you'll revisit old areas and uncover new secrets as you go, so a small world is made more compelling by having it layered and fraught with danger. Deck 13's game is the sleeper hit for me of this year. I did not expect to like it as much as I did, and it certainly is a Dark Souls clone much in the same way there are now Diablo clones. Yet Lords of the Fallen proves there is plenty of room for more difficult, deep, and engaging RPGs in the world, and does enough different to stand out from the pack. I sincerely hope we get a sequel, or at least more games from Deck 13 of this type, as I feel that they're on to just the beginning to build this world and carve a niche in the genre. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow us on MMORPG.com without the dot. That's on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. And if you feel like it, you can follow me on Twitter at TheBillMurphy. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one.